Ladies and gentlemen, it is summertime and we all know what that means. It is the season of road trips, and so we thought it was a good time to bring out a couple of vans.
Since road trip nga, we are here at Frontera Tagaytay to test these big babies out.
But of course, we're not just here for vacation, we are here to do a job, and that is for you guys. So let's get this show on the road. I'm Anton.
And I'm Leandre.
And
this is the big test. It has paddle shifters. Ah, Lord! Cut mo yun! Cut mo yun!
A lot of you have been asking for it, so we brought it here. Now, this of course is the first ever Hyundai Staria, and it effectively replaces the good old Starex. From its futuristic looks to its loungy interior and all the tech and toys you can throw at it, it's starting to look like an easy win against its biggest threat yet.
Now, what better to pit against the new guy than the good old Toyota Hiace? Of course, we went for the top-of-the-line variant and got the Super Grandia Elite. It's already been here for a while, but it has that tried and tested formula. Now, how does that formula stack up against what the Hyundai has to offer?
Now, what we have here are, of course, the top spec variants, and you're gonna pay a pretty penny for both of these vans. So for the first test, we're gonna check out the features and amenities from the first row to the second row and even the third row. While we're inside, we might as well do the second test, which is, of course, to check out the space. Because why else would you buy a van if you're not gonna fill in all those rows of seats? So, Leandre, welcome to the Hyundai Staria. It's your first time inside one, so give me a couple of your impressions. What features do you see?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't expect to see this much plastic here in the front row. You don't have leather on the dash. You do have leather on the seats, but that's basically it. While the Super Grandia has wood finish, this has a plastic center console. I do like this one though. It's kind of neat. It has a Staria badge here that lights up. Let's talk about the features.
Okay, so we've turned on our butt chillers because that's more relevant in the Philippines than heaters. Of course, all Starias have digital instrument cluster. Doesn't matter which variant it is. You get that standard either way. What about the head unit? What do you think of it?
It's pretty small, and I don't like wireless Apple CarPlay. It's a bit laggy, but it does have good sound with that Bose sound system. This one has active safety features, right?
Yeah.
This has adaptive cruise control. It has lane keep assist. It has paddle shifters. It has paddle
It's a
shifters.
sports van.
Yeah. Honestly, the overall layout of it is fine. It's just the build quality of the front row. It's a bit disappointing for me. Even this one, underneath. I mean, what's going on here?
I get what you mean. That, you know, in the photos it looked fantastic.
Yeah, it did. I have to hand it to Hyundai though. At least they put a sunroof here.
And the Super Grandia doesn't need much introduction. We've been in Super Grandias before, but you could say that after coming from the Staria, we have a sort of better appreciation of the Hiace's build quality and choice of cabin materials, no?
There are still plastics here. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Ang dami pa din, but comparing it to that one, at least this has actual leather on the door,
Yeah.
softer
Yes,
dashboard,
there's more of that.
wood trims.
I mean, I know it's plywood or plastic
Yeah,
wood, but you
but
know, it
It looks better.
Yeah.
It looks way better, and it's also better to the touch.
Yes.
It's smoother. It doesn't feel cheap at all. That's what I like about the Toyotas.
And then, like pressing the buttons, no, and you know, it just feels a little bit better to touch in here.
Yeah.
Like just pressing things around, like you don't really hear creaks or rattles.
Yeah.
Wala eh.
Unless you like jiggle it.
Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah.
It feels like the build quality here is much better.
And another thing I noticed when I hopped in, I have this.
Yes. You were asking about the lever earlier.
Yeah.
Look at this. It takes up so much more space. Doesn't have
It doesn't have a pass through down here.
Moving on to safety features, this has Toyota safety sense, right?
Yes.
So it has adaptive
Cruise, AEB,
emergency
lane
braking,
departure warning, AEB, etc. Yeah, so you're pretty well covered in this one. Probably an unpopular opinion. I think this interior is gonna age better compared to the Staria. Like, this, I think, 10 years, 20 years down the line, I think it'll still look good.
It's fine. It's gonna be fine.
It's not gonna look of the time. So we're now in the second row, and I want to show you a party trick.
Yeah.
Okay, so You see these buttons down here now. So here in the second row, you also get butt chillers then.
Very, very good bonus
Very good.
again.
Yeah. And that's something you don't get in the Toyota. And it has a full recline mode. You just push.
Oh, man.
Although,
Yeah.
ganyan siya.
I could stay here.
And
stay here.
you just press the other button to bring out the ottomans. Yeah. And if you're seated where I am, you can move that seat forward. Not from here though. You have to press the button right in the front seat, or you can just ask your driver to press it for you. I do wish the armrest could be a bit thicker.
Yeah.
But I will say, kind of reminds me of an A320 armrest. For
Yeah.
plain geeks, you probably understand what that is. You don't get a center console back here.
Yeah, you don't.
And the cup holder is
Let's
all the way
let's bring it out.
there.
I was thinking about it earlier, and I was wondering, why would you complain about it? Now I'm sitting here like this, and yeah, where are my cup holders?
But you do have bottle holders on the doors, but that's it.
It's also too far.
Oh, that's
It's
true.
also too far when you're sitting like this. I mean, you're not gonna sit like this all the time, of course, but when you're reclined all the way like this,
You're in relax mode, let's say.
Yeah.
Ganito, no?
you can't.
It's-
You don't have anything. Also, we were mentioning earlier how just the controls and everything else are just too far away from you. AC controls.
Yes, just on this
You
side.
have to reach all the way there. And you don't even have a control for the sunroof here. So we're here in the third row. We employ the services of our art director, Echo. Para tatlo kami dito sa likod. Now we move the second row seats a bit more forward, but we still have a lot of legroom to work around with here. And as you mentioned earlier, we can slide
You
it
can
all the way
slide
back.
this all the way back.
Go.
So, this is going might look awkward on camera. So, Echo, ikaw na lang.
Ako na lang.
And
1, 2,
push all the way back. Okay.
there. Yan.
Now,
Yan.
I noticed something when we slid all the way back. And the shoulders starting to hit
Yeah.
here against the pillar. Amenities. I think isang USB port here in the third row.
You have actual cubbies here,
Yes.
unlike in the second row.
Yes, and you have
Yeah, you have blinds.
sun blinds here. They're all nice. You know, there's nice touches here. You know, you got your ambient lighting. Seats are decent. They're fairly comfortable. But
The elephant in the room.
yes,
The lack of AC vents.
yes, it
You
is.
have none here. This
There-
needs AC vents. The closest you have are these. They're
It's
really far.
and it's on the second row pa. So
Hindi abot eh. Hindi ako nalalabigan.
So whoever's in the second row, you're gonna have to tell them to share some AC with whoever's
Yeah,
seated at the back here. And syempre, pag mas puno, it's gonna be hotter inside.
Another setback of, no pun intended, moving this all the way back is you basically lose any cargo space you have in the back.
Yeah,
None. Nada.
Yeah, yeah, you have about this much space.
Can we move it all the way forward?
You can move it all the way forward.
Let's move it again.
Yeah. So,
Go.
sagad.
So this is the maximum cargo space you have.
That's the maximum cargo space.
Anyway.
But if you fold this down, basically you have a shelf and a cargo floor.
And we're gonna test it later anyway.
Yeah,
For now,
Super Grandia. So, second row of the Super Grandia Elite. And
it's super. It's the seats are much better. I
They're
like
softer,
the armrests better. I like the finish better. The biggest bonus of all, you have
there
this
is a table.
/ mini bar. At least you have space to put all your stuff. Although it doesn't have the, like you said earlier,
It doesn't have the
cradle
seat
mode.
cradle of the Staria. But, you know what? Bawi siya because of the, you know, the cushions of the seats. They're pretty good.
Yes.
And it doesn't have the return mode, granted.
But it still has the ottoman.
Yeah, it still has the
butterfly
ottomans.
headrests. It can still recline all the way down, like all the way back.
Sarap ng igamit siya.
But yeah, also it has these.
Yeah, you got the map lights.
Yep.
Did you notice this little logo up here?
What's that?
So Nano E basically it's a cabin filtration system. So
okay.
it's on top of your cabin air filter pa. So you know you're not gonna
It has
breathe in
nano
more
E.
dust.
Yeah. It has nano
And
E.
it has something you'll appreciate. At least the AC controls here in the second row.
Are
It's in the
more
center.
reachable.
Yeah.
It's more reachable, and they also look better. Actually, it has a clock, has a small display. It looks better.
I know this reminds me of the trains in Japan. Na you're on board, this may digital display doon.
Yeah.
Eh, kulang na lang ipakita kung nasan ka. I have to point out that there is less room here.
Yes, definitely.
Because this is a 4-row version, and all elites are 4-row. But on the flip side, you get to carry more people. But you just have to be more strategic.
The third row still has captain seats.
So third row, and I hate to admit this, but the third row, so it's not like the priority seat in a Super Grandia, but the third row of this is like the captain chair of the Staria, the best seats in the house of the Staria.
I am a bit surprised at how nice it is to sit in the back. I wasn't able to sit here before, but with the front row, the second row adjusted to the optimal position, there's still some space to work around with here.
And you got even more USB ports here. Two
on both sides. Let's just move these a bit forward.
Yep.
And have the second row seats all the way forward as well. Then let's see what space we can work around with at the back.
All right.
I guess this is fine.
So what if there are days that you really have to use the fourth row and you're able to find a way to, make it work? So what's the fourth row like? Well, according to Toyota, you can fit 4 people at the back here, and that's exactly what we have done.
We took our videographer, Papi, to help us out for this test.
And Echo is back for this test as well. It can work in some ways. I am against the window already, and I'm not a tall person, but I don't have much headroom left here either.
Me neither. Now, another thing to note here is that even with this bench seat down, unlike with the Staria, you still have some cargo space to work with here. Medyo isang tangkal pa nga yung natitira eh. Which is okay. If you it might not be able to fit big luggage, but at least your bags, your weekend bags for everybody in front, kaya mo ipagsiksikan dyan.
And another thing, because these seats are, they're hinged and they're not restricted by the rail, you can actually put some stuff underneath these seats. No?
That's true. Let's not forget though, we have to mention this also. These AC vents, at least you have these at the back.
You have 4 rows of AC vents.
Yes. So,
and
medyo malamig.
Did you notice this?
Oh, you have speakers here too?
Yep.
That's nice.
Surround sound.
Nice.
So we have to pick a winner for interior amenities and space. The Staria, when it comes to toys. However,
with the Toyota, it just feels much better. The build quality feels so much better than the Staria. So you can't say that the Staria has this one by a mile. It looks like it does have it, but no, when you're inside these vans, it just feels different.
There are just some things that the Toyota does better, not just in like the cabin materials, but also in ergonomics, in where they put stuff. And may kanya-kanya silang gimmick na okay, this does it better, this does it better. So pantay talaga eh. So it's a tie for
has to be a tie.
Yeah, for amenities and features. But for space,
well, to be fair, this has 4 rows. So the Staria does have more space. And like I said earlier, if you buy a Super Grandia, are you really buying it for 10 people? Or are you buying it for the captain seats in the back, diba? So if we're just basing it on the first, second, and third rows, the Staria has it.
Yeah.
Space-wise.
So so far it is 1 for the Super Grandia and 2 for the Staria so far. So let's see in our next test if the Super Grandia can claw back some points.
So we tested out the interior space. Now it's time to find out just how much luggage these vans can bring. Now we have here some of our stuff. We have a hard box and a few bags. So this is what it looks like when the Staria's bench seat is not all the way back, but set to an ideal position if there are actually people sitting in the back. Now the setback here is you can't stow these unlike with the Super Grandia. So all you can do is,
well, basically what you're left with is a big shelf. Yes, you can do this, but this also means you can only carry 4 people. And you're not really going to be able to maximize the luggage area. And if you're going to carry 7 people in here, which is its seating capacity, you're going to have to put your luggage either on the floor or on your lap.
You will have some space here, but you know, depends on how much stuff you're actually gonna bring on your trip. So that's the Staria covered. Let's go to the Super Grandia.
Now for the Super Grandia, and as you can see, we can barely fit stuff here at the back. But thankfully, there is enough space under the seats of the Super Grandia. You can't do the same with the Staria. However, the main advantage of the Super Grandia is you can take out the final row, and that's something you can't do in the Hyundai.
So I shall begin.
There's quite a number of steps involved, so you might want to fast forward this bit.
Ah, Lord!
That's the final row removed, and as you can see, there is just loads more space.
Cargo space for days.
Yes.
And with this last box inside, you still have so much room to work with. And mind you, this is with the front seats adjusted to an okay position.
And on top of that, you can bring the cargo of 6 people. Whereas if you stow the final row in a Hyundai Staria, you can only carry 4 people. So when it comes to space, cargo space at least, I think we have
A clear winner.
Yeah.
Clear winner.
So that is 2 all for the Toyota and Hyundai. On to the next test. And for our next challenge is, of course, comfort. I mean, vans, yes, they do have to carry a lot of people, but it would be nice if we were all comfortable inside them. And these are luxury models after all. So how do they ride and how do they fare on the road as passengers? This is one of the few times we're actually seated at the back, but we think this is a very relevant test. So we're starting off with the Toyota Super Grandia Elite, and Leandre?
It's surprisingly comfortable in here. Like, the ride is nice, and it doesn't feel like a car, even if it, you know, it's slower than most SUVs, but it feels like a floatier SUV. If you're comparing it with, say, other Toyotas like the Fortuner.
Well, we all know what happened in the last big test, and well,
Really.
somebody's back died there.
But the seats are really plush and comfy. Ang lambot.
Actually,
Ganda ng pasok sa upuan talaga.
I was about to get to that because, you know, the suspension's supple. It's, I wouldn't say it's soft,
Yeah.
but, you know, there's that, it glides.
Yeah.
But the seats have a big part in it. The cushions, they're softer, they're a little more supportive. And what I noticed was the way the backrest sort of just hugs around your back.
Plus the butterfly headrest.
Oh yeah, you'll
Really,
feel
really
first
nice.
class in one of these.
The seats in the back, they may not be as luxurious as these, pero the captain seats dito sa third row, they are also very comfortable to sit in. Just ask Echo, he's in the back. Okay naman.
Yeah, he is chilling at the back. So the Super Grandia Elite has set a pretty high bar for the Staria to beat. And if the Hyundai can at least match this ride and, you know, these seat comfort, then good job Hyundai.
So we're done with the Super Grandia, and we're now here inside the Staria.
And-
And right off the bat, we already know which ride is better.
We're
Let's just
already-
end this note.
But yeah, yeah, we're already giggling, so you probably know the answer to which is more comfortable, because in the Staria we feel, yep,
See
you can
that?
see, we could feel more of the bumps. There's more of the shocks being sent into the cabin and into the seats. And speaking of the seats,
They aren't as comfortable as the Toyotas. Well, they are nice, but they aren't as nice as the Grandias. They have armrests, they have seat ventilation, you can lie it all the way down, they have ottomans too, but they're just not as luxurious as the Grandia seats, and they're not as soft.
yes, this is a touch on the firmer side,
Yeah.
these seats.
Don't get us wrong, the Staria really is still a very nice van to sit in when you're a passenger in the back. But just coming from the Super Grandia, it's just a different experience. We just can see the difference. It's
Yes.
night and day.
Hindi sa matagtag siya like you're on coilovers or any of that, no. But maybe it's just that we were expecting this to ride better because
Yeah.
because of the way it looks. Let's admit it.
I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting a lot more from the cabin and then a lot more from the suspension. But I didn't think it was gonna be this bumpy. It's a bit bumpy.
Yeah, it
Let's
is.
be honest, it's a bit bumpy.
Yeah. Yes, and before you guys ask, did we check the tire pressures? Yes, these are on the factory recommended PSIs. So, Leandre, winner, clear one.
Super good deal. Next is performance, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is performance.
It's time to drive then.
Another important thing for these road trip vans is performance. But you're probably asking, wait, these aren't race cars or these aren't sports cars. Why would you even mention performance? Well, it's simple. You gotta have power to overtake slower traffic, and if you're heading out to the province, you've got winding roads, uphills, downhills, and etc. So yes, performance is still a very important aspect here. In the case of the Toyota Hiace Super Grandia Elite, it uses a 2.8-liter turbo diesel engine shared with the Fortuner and the Hilux and even the Prado. Now, it doesn't get the 201 horsepower tune. Instead, this one gets the 176 or 175 horsepower tune and 450 Newton meters. But, it's still beefy enough for this van. And it's got decent poke. I'm overtaking slower traffic right now. And I just have to twitch my foot a little bit just to get past it.
So I'm here with the Hyundai Staria, and the reason why Anton and I swapped is because I haven't driven this yet. So this is my first time behind the wheel of it. Now, the Staria is powered by a 2.2-liter turbo diesel engine that generates 176 horsepower and 430 Newton meters of torque. It's the same powertrain inside the Kia Carnival. Now, it's powerful, it can help you haul a lot of people with cargo, but it's so laggy. The turbo lag is very, very noticeable. It's like a half-second delay when you floor it. It's not irritating, but it's really, really noticeable. The performance is okay. It's not really a deal breaker, but at least for this big test, we know which one is the winner. So in total, that's going to be 4 points for the Super Grandia and 2 so far for Staria.
A sensible question for sensible people would be, matipid ba siya sa gas or matipid ba siya sa diesel in this case? So that's our next challenge, fuel economy. Now, these are big and heavy vehicles, so getting great fuel economy out of them sounds like a tall order, but in the case of the Super Grandia, well, it does a decent job. Now, we've been going up and down mountain roads with a fair bit of overtaking, fair bit of idling, stuck in traffic from time to time, but it still manages to return about 8.2 to 8.3 kilometers per liter. So for something that weighs well over 2 tons, that's actually not bad at all. And remember, this thing doesn't have an eco mode.
Now, as for fuel economy, Anton got 8.2 in the Hiace, if I'm not mistaken. Here, I got 8.6 kilometers per liter in mixed conditions. That's what the gauge tells me. So, it's a slight advantage, but at least the Staria gets the point here.
So we're down to our final challenge, which is value for money. And before we went on cam, Leandre and I came up with a pretty controversial conclusion for this.
Wait, but before anything else, how much does that cost?
So this is 2,930,000.
And this one is
3,158,000.
3,158.
So yeah, on paper, this is more expensive. The Staria is cheaper. It wins. But it's not as simple as that.
Well, if you ask me which one I would buy for 3-point-something million pesos, if I had that money, I'd go for this one. Because I'd have more comfort, I'd have more passengers, I could load more passengers, and it's just overall a better interior for me.
Yes, and on top of that, basically the Super Grandia just does more van things compared to the Hyundai Staria. Now, we're not totally dissing the Staria, but okay, here's a couple of things about it. Yes, it has a 360-degree view camera, it has lane keeping assist, it even has all-wheel drive. But again, you're sort of limited by it just having 7 seats. And yes, it's gonna be pretty cramped here if you fill it up to 11. But at the same time, the cargo area in particular was a sort of a sore point for this one. Yes, this has more toys. And you're not gonna die, it looks cool. And the interior looks, but doesn't feel, looks like a lounge. So, it's all about aesthetic and the ambiance of this one.
Now, yeah, it looks cool, you're right, but you won't really buy a van like this because it looks nice. It has to feel nice inside. One argument you could make is that the Staria handles better, but we didn't really tackle that here. And in any case, you wouldn't really want to buy this van to drive it.
Exactly.
You'd buy this van to ride in it. So you want the interior, the second row, the third row, and the fourth row even, to be comfortable, to be great for you as a passenger, not a driver.
And that brings us to the score tallies.
So for the first test, the interior and the amenities, we gave it a tie.
Yes.
Gave them a tie.
Okay, so that's 1-all.
Then for interior space,
It was the Hyundai.
it was much roomier inside.
Yeah.
6 seats,
Yep.
3 rows, 7 seats,
Yeah.
that's it. But for cargo space,
We gave it to the Toyota.
Toyota has better cargo because of the stowable seats,
Yes.
stowable fourth row. And
And then
next one is comfort,
comfort,
which
went to this one. And
knocked it out of the park.
performance went to the Toyota.
Toyota as well.
And then fuel
Good.
economy did go to the Hyundai by
Only
0.4
kilometers per liter. So that brings
So,
us to 4 and 3.
for 3, and value for money went to the Toyota. So this honestly was a surprising result.
Yes, I'm not gonna lie, I expected this one to win, like no doubt about it. I was saying, oh no, the Super Grandia doesn't have anything on this.
Yeah, and I will admit
I
that
am
was
surprised.
that was my thought too, because just look at it. Just look at it.
I mean, this looks nice, but look at this
one
one.
looks like in
It looks-
2050 or 2060.
It looks like a
diba?
spaceship.
Yeah, so alam mo yun, we had huge expectations for this one. But you know what? The veteran still wins it.
Yeah, and you gotta hand it to Toyota. It's a really well-balanced van. Like, if you're in the luxury segment, the Super Grandia, there's a reason it's still selling well. There's a
Yes.
reason a lot of these are on the road. And just gotta hand it to Toyota. It's a great van.
Yeah. And we're able to appreciate it more now.
Yeah, especially when somebody else is driving.
Yes.
Let's do more of these, guys.
And so that concludes our big test. I'm Anton.
And I'm Leandre, and we'll
Eh.
catch you guys next time. This is the big test ba dapat yun?
No, I mentioned big test.